Recording in progress.
Jai Sairam, everyone, and welcome to day 7 of our Tapovanam Parayan on the very auspicious day of Guru Purnima. Today we'll be reading chapters 15 through to 18. Jai Sairam. And we will also have, we'll be starting with Veda chanting as usual. And a little bit different at the end, we'll have our closing bhajan, darshan, we'll have the universal prayer and the arti, followed by a conclusion as well before we end today. Sairam.
ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः योपां पुष्पं वेद पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् पशुमान् भवति चन्द्रमा वा अपां पुष्पम् पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् पशुमान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति अग्निर्वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति योऽग्निरायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वा अग्निरायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति वायुर्वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यो वायोरायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै वायोरायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति असौ वै तपन्नपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यो मुष्यतपत आयतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वा अमुष्यतपत आयतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति चन्द्रमा वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यश्चन्द्रमस आयतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै चन्द्रमस आयतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति नक्षत्राणि वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यो नक्षत्राणामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै नक्षत्राणामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति पर्जन्यो वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यः पर्जन्यस्यायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै पर्जन्यस्यायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति संवत्सरो वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यः संवत्सरस्यायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै संवत्सरस्यायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद यो ओप्सुनावं प्रतिष्ठितां वेद प्रत्येव तिष्ठति राजाधिराजाय प्रसह्य साहिने नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे समे कामान् कामकामाय मह्यम् कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणो ददातु कुबेराय वै श्रवणाय महाराजाय नमः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Jai Sai Ram. Tapovanam, Sri Satya Sai Satcharitra, the sacred life story of Sri Satya Sai Baba by Jandyala Venkateswara Sastri. Day 7. Chapter 15. I am aware of the past, the present, and future of everyone. You may think that it is a marvelous phenomenon that the Supreme Being should come down to earth in human form. But if you are in my position, you will not be so wonderstruck. I am fully aware of the past, the present, and the future of every one of you. That is why I do not get overwhelmed with pity. Not that I do not have compassion and love. My heart is certainly not made of stone. But if you shut the door of your heart, how can the waves of my sweet love penetrate beyond? You shed tears and say, Swami, I am blind. I yearn to see your divine form. Doesn't my distress melt your heart? When you see a blind person's misery, your hearts are moved. Does not my heart too feel pity? But as I know the entire background, including the distressed person's earlier lives, my response is naturally different. If you too come to know of things that are known to me, your reaction to that person's agony will also be different. What one reaps in this life is but the fruits of the seeds that he himself had sowed in previous lives. So I allow him to undergo what he derived from his earlier evil deeds. Of course, performance of extenuatingly good deeds will mitigate the suffering to some extent. I am not the cause of either your happiness or misery. You have yourself fashioned these two manacles that weigh you down. Baba. Evil begets evil. Once a husband and wife accompanied by their 2 children came to Prashanti Nilayam. The parents as well as the children were very handsome, and the whole family made a picture of beauty. They eagerly desired to meet Bhagavan personally. They saw Colonel Joga Rao in that connection and requested him somehow to make it possible. Impressed by the good looks of the couple, Colonel Joga Rao felt that it would be very nice if Baba could give them an interview. So he interceded with Baba on their behalf, mentioning also that everyone in the family was very handsome. Swami said, "You are speaking so highly about the beauty of the parents and their children. That is all right, but do you know that both the little ones are blind?" Colonel Joga Rao was taken aback. Swami had not seen the family yet. Joga Rao himself did not notice and could not imagine that the 2 lovely children were sightless. When he met those people again, he inquired about their children's lack of eyesight. He was distressed when he was told the ugly truth. The lady once again entreated Colonel Joga Rao to plead on their behalf, with Swami to bless her children with sight. Moved by their pleasant manner, Joga Rao raised the matter once again with Swami. He got no reply. The next day Swami came out of his place with the day's newspaper in hand. He gave it to Colonel Joga Rao and asked him to read a particular item. The item refers to a news story. In Bukapatnam, 2 children's eyes were blinded by their stepmother. After reading the shocking news, Colonel Joga Rao stared at Swami. "What would you do if you were to deal with this incident?" asked Swami. Colonel Joga Rao answered instantly, "I will turn the hapless mother blind." Then Swami softly told him, "But God does not do so. On the other hand, he makes her children blind. As for these 2 little ones, leave them to me. They will certainly be happy. But what about their mother?" Baba moved away from the place, leaving Colonel Joga Rao stunned. This brief conversation was all that happened, but Colonel Joga Rao realized in his mind that the puzzle of a universal mystery had been unraveled in a flash. What had he asked of Swami in favor of the couple? What did Swami mean by drawing his notice to this day's news item? And what is the profound significance of Swami's conversation with him? Evidently, Swami did not wish to reveal anything directly to the unfortunate mother and add to her mental anguish. It all added up to this: every person would have to suffer retribution for past sins. Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba says, God is just like a postman who takes out of his bag letter after letter and hands each one at the appropriate address. Members in one house read their letter and burst out in joy. Another household suffers misery with what it received. As for the concerned with the contents of the postman, he is least concerned with the contents of the letters he delivers. His role is merely to transmit each letter to the correct addressee. God too does the same. Picking up the food thrown away then. Accompanied by Swami Karunyananda, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba once went to Dharmakshetra in Mumbai. He stayed in his apartment on the upper floor while Karunyananda was given a room situated on the ground floor right beneath Baba's room. Some prominent persons of Mumbai were coming to meet Bhagavan. The staircase they used was adjoining the ground floor room, and to avoid being disturbed, Karunyananda bolted his door from inside. As he looked out from his window, he saw a very disturbing scene. Just outside the compound wall, some children were vying with stray dogs to grab crumbs of food from discarded leaf plates. The scene filled him with surprise as well as distress. This is the age when God Himself has incarnated on this earth and is moving in flesh and blood among human beings. What's more, on that very day He was present right in that very building. Is it not ironical that human beings were to fight with street dogs for snatching a few discarded crumbs of food? Just as these thoughts passed through his mind, there was a gentle touch on his shoulder. He turned round and found Sri Satya Sai smiling and looking into his eyes. Karunyananda was flustered and said, "Swami, I bolted my door from inside. How could you enter the room?" Baba countered, "If I want to come in, can bolts stand in my way? I have come to take you for meals." Then Karunyananda told Baba about what was agitating his mind. "Swami, I am troubled by a small doubt. You are God incarnate and right now present here bodily. And just look there, behind the wall. Children are fighting with street dogs for picking up mean crumbs of food from the garbage. How come, Swami?" Bhagavan explained patiently. They had spent their earlier lives in ease and luxury. They disdainfully ate from tables heavily laden with every kind of rich food, pecking a little from this and a little from that plate. They threw away much more than they ever ate, contemptuously discarding precious food. In this birth, they are picking up what they had earlier so recklessly wasted and consigned to the garbage heap. Subsequently, on the occasion of the World Conference of Satya Sai organizations that took place in Prashanti Nilayam, Swami Karunyananda addressed the audience. Swami was present on the dais. In his speech, Karunyananda referred to the above incident, causing considerable surprise all around. In his discourse that followed, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba clarified, "Two birds are sitting on a branch of a tree. One is eating the tree's fruit. The other is just watching like a mere witness." This incident was mentioned in one of the Upanishads. The inner meaning of this is, the tree is the body, the fruits are worldly happiness and sorrow. The fruit eater is the soul. The witness is the Supreme Being, Paramatma. The birds are no doubt appearing as two distinct entities, but actually they are truly the same. The spiritual essence of man is the Supreme Principle's reflection or shadow vision. In Baba's own words, Paramatma's abhasa rupam is Jivatma. Even so, experiencing happiness and sorrow is the lot of Jivatma. They do not touch Paramatma. Paramatma is only a witness. These words of Bhagwan Baba elaborate the inner meaning of the beautiful Upanishad parade of two birds on a tree.
Ocean of Mercy. Despite all that has been stated earlier about past deed, engendering either retribution or reward in the present life, it is a fact that if Bhagwan wills to show mercy and compassion, his kindness knows no limit. It is so spontaneous that it is pointless to search for its cause. In this context, it is relevant to refer to what Swami recounted on 4th July 1996. It was a heartwarming tale and moved every single person in the gathering. The boy who spoke here first, and Swami, hails from Shimla in Himachal Pradesh. His younger brother also is studying in the primary school here. About 10 years ago, when I was in Brindavan, their mother was brought to me on a stretcher all the way from Himachal Pradesh. I put my arms around the boys and drew them close. I told their mother, "These are my children. From now on, You need not worry about them at all. She too gave her word to Swami. Sai Mata, I am entrusting my sons to you. And she breathed her last. I brought the boys here and enrolled them in the primary school. From that day right up until this day, they never shed a tear. Their mother passed away, their father comes, but rarely. Everybody left them to Swami's care. After all, Swami himself is looking after them. That is exactly what Sharanagati means, total surrender. I see these boys morning and evening every day and inquire about their welfare. They never experience, even for a moment, the misery of losing their mother. One day, the lady warden of the hostel brought the younger boy to me, saying that he was grieving for his mother, weeping for her, and refusing to eat. He was then 5 years old and was in first standard. I took him to the interview room, put a ring on his finger, did this and that to amuse him until he forgot his grief and became cheerful. Ever since, he is always seen smiling and laughing. Children's hearts are pure and clear like crystal. This shows how much courage and strength love can bestow on the loved ones. Could these boys have been so content and cheerful anywhere else? They are so full of happiness and joy because they are with Swami. Swami's love is not one mother's love, but the love of 1,000 mothers. I personally look after every single detail. Unable to understand this, you worry. Swami has not looked at me or talked to me. Despite innumerable responsibilities that I shoulder, I find time to look after and inquire about every single child. The boy who has spoken a little earlier said, as you have all heard, I lost only a single mother, but I've gained the motherly love of 1,000 mothers. That is why, when commencing his talk, he addresses Swami, my mother Sai. It is such ardent faith that protects them and blesses them with complete success in their lives. Nama Smarana and Rupa Dhyana. For 8 long years, a foreign devotee at Prashanti Nilayam had been confined to a wheelchair, for he had lost the use of his legs. Nevertheless, a pleasant smile was always lighting up the brave man's face. Prior to his affliction, he used to exercise and actively participate in sports and games, but fate forced him into this dependence on the wheelchair. Once several visitors from his native land were sitting together in the audience hall. Swami invited all of them into the interview room. Since this handicapped person was tied down to his wheelchair and was also at a different place, he could not move along with the group who had rushed into the interview room. He too was from the same country. Should not Swami have called him as well? He was wondering and eagerly looking towards Swami. Meanwhile, Swami already passed him by and went ahead a little further. But suddenly he turned back and called out to him, "Oh, you also go inside." He was thrilled and began propelling his chair towards the room. The ever compassionate Bhagwan ordered him, "Not like that. Get up and go walking." The poor man shocked. He stopped nevertheless and tried painfully to get out of his chair. Laboriously he freed himself, stumbled a little, but soon pulled himself together. He broke down. Unable to control his spasms of weeping, he threw himself at the lotus feet of Swami. 8 years of tapas and suffering was thus crowned with glorious fulfillment. Release from retribution. Swami said on one occasion, "You may be thinking that one will have to suffer in this birth from the evil deeds done in past lives, and that no amount of God's compassion can exempt you from it. But I am giving you my word that you need not have to undergo the consequences of previous karma." Hence he is worshipped, Sarva Papa Shekaraya Namaha. True enough, look at those who are suffering from disease and have gathered in Puttaparthi, sitting and waiting for Baba. They have totally surrendered themselves at Swami's lotus feet. Having left all their cares in the hands of Swami, they do not seem to be suffering at all. If they were somewhere else, the intensity of their illness would have made them miserable. They would have been experiencing the agony of hell. Here they wait, looking forward to the supreme happiness of Swami's darshan. They suffer not. They are lost in anticipation, and during darshan, they are transported to heavenly bliss. They forget themselves, lost to their pains and aches. After darshan is over, they relive in their wonderful experience, rumination adding to that pleasure and prolongs it. They meditate on the form of Swami, conversing with others, sharing of experiencing and recollecting the sweetness of Swami's words, deeds, and leelas. Their time literally flies. Then they begin looking forward to the next day's darshan with hope, anticipation, expectation, and imagination. Devotees never know passage of hours in Prashanti Nilayam. When do they find time to experience retribution? They are shielded and insulated from suffering and sorrow, just as a patient under anesthesia is protected from pain. The period of suffering retribution passes off smoothly with hearing, shravana, remembering, smarana, contemplating, manan, meditating, chintan, viewing, darshan, and touching, sparshan. In other words, in filling one's body and soul with Swami, his divinity and glory. Entry into Prashanti Nilayam, both physically and metaphorically, is nothing but pariharam. That is remedy for relief from sorrow of every kind. Om Shri Satya Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. End of chapter 15.
Chapter 16. Significance of Nama Smaran. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam. Galo Nasteva, 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 Gatir Anyata. Chanting of the Lord's name is the only way to liberation in the Kali age. God's name only will redeem us. Any mighty task can be achieved by chanting the divine name, Baba. Nama Smaran means remembering or chanting God's name repeatedly. It is one of the spiritual practices enjoined on an aspirant endeavouring to reach God. The importance Swami attaches to it is illustrated by an incident. A devotee asked, Swami, we often hear about total surrender, Sharanagati. How is one to accomplish it? Swami answered softly, Bangaru, Sharanagati is beyond you. Why do you bother about it? Resort to Nama Smaran. God himself will be at your beck and call. Swami once explained the special significance of Nama Smaran. It is the most sublime of all the spiritual practices. It consists of japam, chanting of God's name repeatedly. It is the most infallible penance, tapas. Kuchela could attain Lord Sri Krishna's grace only through Nama Smaran. When you do Nama Smaran, intone the name with fervour, deep devotion and love. It bestows on you immense benefit. In this Kali Yuga, Nama Smaran is enough to earn salvation and release from the otherwise unbroken cycle of birth and death. Nama Smaran is the one and only divine medicine capable of curing you of lack of mental equanimity, avarice, and other ills which torment you. It gives you abiding peace and contentment. The name you choose can be any one of the thousands of names of God, or it can be any one of the names now in common use in any religion, country, or religion of the world, or in any section of devotees. Select any name and devote at least 5 minutes every day for Nama Smaran. Make it a part of your daily routine. It will give you immense benefit. Dullasamma. A long time ago, a devotee called Dullasamma was residing in Prashanti Nilayam. Once, while she was going to her native place by auto rickshaw, the vehicle dashed against a wayside tree and overturned at a deserted place. She was seriously wounded in her wrist. While falling down from the auto rickshaw, she loudly cried, Sai Ram! Within moments of the accident, a car arrived at that lonely spot. The driver picked up both Dulasama and the auto driver and took them to his house. The lady was aware that her wound was serious enough, but as she came to know later, she had been rescued from a more terrible fate. During interrogation, the auto driver revealed startling details. When he noticed expensive gold ornaments on her body, he was tempted to rob them. That was why he drove to that isolated spot and intentionally crashed into the tree. He expected Dulasama to become unconscious and he would be able to get away with her ornaments. But at that moment of impact, she suddenly cried out, Sairam! That Namasmaran had the effect of changing his mind. He was surprised that just at the moment of her terrible ordeal, she could utter God's name so fervently. He felt that she must be very noble and pious, and that he should not rob such a lady. Moreover, although the spot normally was most of the time unfrequented, surprisingly on that specific day, somebody came in a car at the crucial moment and ruined his plan. The auto driver was disturbed at this coincidence. Was it a divine intercession? The poor fellow shuddered at the very thought. The driver confessed all this to Dulasama, narrated every detail of the incident, and expressed sincere remorse. He did not stop there. From that time onwards, he became friendly and very close to her. He would visit her often and inquire about her welfare. He became, as it were, an intimate friend, in fact, a well-meaning relative. This episode highlights the power of Namasmaran. Namasmaran means summoning God. Pedabotu, the great devotee of Bhagwan Satya Sai Baba, of whom we have read about earlier, often asked him, Swami, what is meditation, dhyan, and how to do it? Swami used to put her off. He would merely say, don't bother about dhyan. You are doing Namasmaran, that is good enough. One night, she was sleeping under a tree opposite Swami's residence. As it began to drizzle, she removed herself from there and prepared to sleep in the veranda outside Swami's room. As she was making her bed, she said to herself, as matter of habit, Om Shri Sai Ram. Swami came out and pulled her up. You stupid, won't you allow me to sleep? Bedabotu said, Swami, who stopped you from sleeping? Swami retorted, when you are summoning me, how can I go to bed and sleep? The poor lady explained, I am in the habit of doing Namasmaran, and uttered Om Shri Sai Ram within myself. I did not intend to call you. Bhagwan told her, what does that japam mean? It amounts to calling me. Namasmaran is no different from summoning the God. Namasmaran means telephoning God. Murthy, Sri Kasturi's son, was doing research in geology. In that connection, he had to tour forest areas in Assam. On one occasion, when he was alone, a wild bear noticed him and began closing in on him. Murthy fled for his life, but the animal continued to chase him. As he ran over some rocks in his desperate flight to safety, he tripped and fell down, but continued to cry loudly, Baba, Baba. Within moments, a motor truck appeared there from nowhere, and Murthy found safety by getting into it. After a few months, he happened to be in Prasanthi Nilayam. Swami told him, I received your phone call and dispatched a truck. Did it reach you in time? Maya, the terrible dog. Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba once described the power of Maya in a metaphorical way. He said, God is the master of Maya, delusion, illusion, ignorance. Maya is like a terrible dog standing guard at the entrance of the God's home and does not allow outsiders to come near him. If you are earnest about reaching God, there are only two ways. The first course is to put on the form of the master. Then the dog does not harm you at all. This is known as sarupya, that is, assuming God's form. But you should not make the slightest mistake, otherwise the dog will not spare you. The second course is to cry out for the master in a loud voice. He will hear your cry. He comes to you, receives you with open arms, and, holding your hand, leads inside with overflowing kindness. This is called samipya, that is, being in closest company with God. The dog will not do any harm to you, as you are with his master. Being God's pet dog, Maya obeys him. If he wills it not to give you trouble, you will not be touched. You will know no fear. What a simple and beautiful parable Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai has given us. He has revealed how he, of his own volition, surrenders to his devotee. How easy is the second course. The devotee has only to call God most earnestly, with all his heart, with agony in his voice, with yearning suffusing his whole being. This is Namasmaran. Millions of Sai devotees have found through personal experience that God responds to Namasmaran and presents himself before his devotee with boundless mercy and compassion. Baba's exhortation is that incessant Namasmaran of a deity so elevates the devotee that he attains the form of that deity. Bhagwan says that incessant smaran of Lord Sri Rama's name by his brother Bharat resulted in Ramayan, in the latter looking like Sri Ram to all. A similar thing happened with Uddhava in Sri Mahabhagavat, who did uninterrupted smaran of Lord Sri Krishna's name.
Earnest prayer. When you do Nam Smaran, fill it with great longing, anguish, and love for God. God always looks mainly for the intensity in his devotees' prayer, said Baba, and illustrated the statement with the following charming story. Adi Sankara was then a little child. Their family deity was goddess Raja Rajeshwari. Sankara's father used to worship Devi every day. One day he had to go out to some place on business. Therefore, he entrusted the task of Devi worship to the little boy. The child performed worship as usual and ritually offered milk to the deity. He waited and waited in expectation. He had always believed that Devi was actually drinking the milk offered by his father every day. So he waited for Devi to take milk, but it did not happen. In great anguish and with tears flowing down his cheeks, the little boy earnestly pleaded, "What is the matter, my mother? Won't you accept milk offered by me? Won't you bless me with your grace?" The motherly heart of the Supreme Mother melted in compassion and pity on seeing the agony in the tender child's heart, and she gulped down the whole of the milk that the little devotee offered. Sankara knows that the milk which his father daily offers to Devi was treated as holy, and after puja, his father would give a little of that as tirtham, liquid prasadam, to every member of the family. But on this day, not a drop remained for such distribution. The goddess has taken all in a single gulp. He feared that other members of the family would suspect him of having swallowed the entire quantity of milk. Overcome by shame and desperation, Sankara wept. Moved by his distress again, the merciful Devi filled the container full of milk. She did not pour milk from her hand. The milk that she gave came directly from the Divine Mother's breasts. Sankara's agonized prayer was thus amply fulfilled by the mother. An exactly similar incident happened very recently, which Swami narrated as follows. A person who is now here among you suddenly cried out, "Swami," in an excited and loud voice. I sensed the distress, faith, and yearning in that cry. What happened was that the sari of his wife had caught fire. Flames raged. Stunned by terror, she could not remember me. The husband was helpless and desperate and cried out for me. Their place is 200 miles away from here. The moment I heard the call, I was there and put out the flames before much harm could be done. What drew me there was the deep anguish in that cry. I am ever waiting for you. One day, during Swami's public audience, a devotee was continuously calling him in great anguish, "Swami, Swami." Swami noticed him and invited him into the interview room. He was longing for Swami's love, for Swami's divine proximity, and for an opportunity of conversing with Swami. Swami entered the room, closed the door, and was bolting it. The devotee could not hold himself any longer. He blurted out, "Swami, I have been waiting for you for the last 3 weeks. For 3 long weeks, Swami. Swami turned round and said affectionately, Bangaru, do you know how many years I have been waiting for you? The man was thunderstruck. Bhagavan? Actually waiting for him? He was overwhelmed at the thought. Unable to bear the impact of the flood of Baba's love, he started weeping. Yes, it is a fact that Swami is waiting every moment for each one of us, wondering, when will he come? When? He says, whenever you come to me, Bangaru, you will find me waiting for your arrival. But the devotees excuse themselves. Swami, I cannot come just now. I am deeply entangled in many things. I find myself enslaved. I am unable to come at present, Swami. Bhagwan is indulgent. He reassures his devotees. Don't worry at all, Bangaru. It does not matter when you will be able to come. Take your own time. But so far as I am concerned, I will always be awaiting you. That arrival may take several lifetimes or births even. Several devotees plead for a personal interview with Swami. Swami, Swami, interview, please. They cry out. He answers, wait, wait. It does not mean merely that they should await their turn. It also means that they are too weighty, too heavy. They have to long for many more days or even many more years in some cases. They have to suffer the agony of not being called to his presence. After they undergo some tapas, after some penance, Swami invites them for interview. That is to say, the seeker should first lose weight through austerity, self-mortification, incessant namsmaran, and meditation on Swami. He has to unburden himself of the load of evils like attachment and hatred, that's rag, dvesha, which are weighing him down. When the devotee prepares himself in this manner, when the burden of weight is shed and he becomes light, Swami would certainly invite him to come close to him. Swami himself explained this in a different manner. He said, the more you come close to me, the more you earn my love. You become more likely to burn. What will be burnt are our evils, defects, and impurities. Such a burning leads to spiritual purification, to refinement. As the process of burning is accompanied by Swami's love, which acts as a shield, the aspirant is able to withstand the fiery ordeal.
The oppressed are my children. When Sri Kasturi was principal of a college in Devangiri, Karnataka, he had an attendant called Anathappa. That man had great devotion for Swami. He would gather puja materials like flowers, fruit, joss sticks, and camphor needed for the bhajans in his master's home. To ensure that they were of the best quality, he would scout the entire market, shop by shop, standing in front of Swami's picture in the house. He would implore him most pitiably to let a flower drop into his hand. He would be alone in front of Swami's picture conversing with him. When a faded garland removed from Swami's image was given to him, he would treat it as holy prasadam. One day Swami gave one of his photographs, a large one, to Sri Kasturi and told him, take this to Devangiri and place it in Anathappa's temple. Anathappa's humble shanty truly became a temple by Baba's word. Vibhuti was dropping out of that photograph, and countless people came seeking it. Once, Swami remarked also that Anathappa was like Vibhishana in Sri Lanka in Ramayan. The husband of Anathappa's younger daughter was working in the Department of Railways in Mysore. The couple stayed in an obscure house in Bangalore. That fellow was of a suspicious nature. He even doubted his wife's chastity. He harassed her incessantly. She was confined to a room like a prisoner. Nobody could intervene and bring him to the path of reason. Unable to put up with such persecution, the poor woman implored her husband to take her to Sri Sathya Sai Baba in Puttaparthi. If Baba declared her to be chaste, she said. Her husband should let her be in peace, otherwise she would end her life in Puttaparthi itself. Anathappa, his wife, their daughter, and son-in-law travelled to Puttaparthi. Swami was all kindness. He invited them into the interview room and told Anathappa's son-in-law, "Your wife is illustrious and as pure as Sita, wife of Lord Sri Rama. She is like goddess Parvati, consort of Lord Shiva." He tried to reason with him, but the fellow did not relish Swami's words and became abusive. Swami threw him out and closed the door on him. He advised Anathappa not to worry. He also assured him that the man would surely mend his ways soon and live in happiness with his wife. On the way back, they reached Venugonda late in the night. They sat in the railway station awaiting the midnight train from Guntakal. Anathappa's son-in-law went on blabbering and rubbishing holy men and mendicants. Anathappa was distressed, because the man had not obviously changed his evil ways. The train steamed in at midnight. The boy helped Anathappa, his wife, and daughter into a third-class coach of the train and boarded a first-class coach himself. He could travel in a first-class coach as he was a railway employee. At about 1 a.m., i.e. an hour after midnight, the train stopped at a station called Thondibavi. Suddenly, Anathappa's son-in-law began screaming in pain and moaning loudly. Hearing the disturbing noise, the guard came into the coach. Railway staff in the station also gathered to find out what's happened and what was the problem. The fellow was found rubbing his cheeks. Terror-stricken, he was furtively looking all around. The guard asked him, "Who entered this compartment and slapped your cheeks?" Weeping and moaning, he got down from the train, went and sat in the station master's room and told him what had happened. About 6 miles ahead of Thondibavi station, he said, lights in the compartment were suddenly switched on. I got up and sat on my berth. There was reddish illumination, as if Sai Baba had filled the whole space. Baba started slapping my cheeks. He was all over the space around me, and I was receiving slaps from every direction. As he beat me on my cheeks, he was saying, "You refuse to believe me when I say that your wife is innocent and chaste. Will you stop harassing her or not? She is my child. Not only she, all the oppressed are my children. Will you obey me? Will you?" As the train approached this station, the reddish illumination disappeared. Normal bright light took its place. After this incident, there was a radical transformation in the couple's lives. They started living amicably in complete harmony and love. After a few months, Bhagavan Baba was conversing with some devotees. He said that Shirdi Sai Baba would often display anger, but this present avatar was one of love. Sri Kasturi meekly interjected, "Swami, in this present avatar, did you not beat anyone?" Baba replied, "I am now the personification of love." But Sri Kasturi persisted, "In this avatar, haven't you beaten anybody else?" To that Swami said, "Are you referring Anathappa's son-in-law? What I did to him was only out of love for him." Sri Kasturi said, Swami's love and grace were amply showered on that poor simple girl. The ever compassionate Baba added, "Yes, on that son-in-law too." Goat and Mind. A king called several villagers together and gifted each of them a goat with an order that every animal should be well fed by its keeper. But he imposed just a single condition. When the goats were brought back to him and when ordered, they should not be eating green leaves at all. In fact, they should display a total distaste for leaves. As an incentive to the villagers, he announced a reward of 10,000 rupees to the villagers who would successfully tend the goats as directed. The villagers thought that if a goat was fully fed and if its stomach was full, it could take nothing more. It would refuse even green leaves. So they made it a habit to feed the animals so fully that they would not wish to touch anything. A girl, however, followed a different method of training her goat. She placed green leaves before the goat, and when the animal was about to feed on them, she gave a beating on its mouth with a stick. Repetition of this procedure had the effect of deterring the animal from touching green leaves even when they were placed right before it, although its stomach was not full. Sometime later, the king ordered the villagers to present the goats for inspection. He found that the goats started eating leaves as soon as they were placed before them. But there was one goat that was not even looking at the leaves. Instead, it was looking at the stick its keeper held. The king was delighted and promptly presented 10,000 rupees to the girl who successfully trained that particular goat in the manner ordered by him. Control of mind also requires similar hard training and severe discipline. Arjuna, eminent that he was, admitted, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, Pramadi balavat dridam. O Krishna, mind is unsteady and fickle, confusing, strong, and inflexible. He prayed to Krishna to enlighten him of how to subdue and control such a difficult and unruly mind. There is no doubt that the only way to conquer the mind is to practice arduous and relentless spiritual discipline, sadhana. Om Shri Satya Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. End of chapter 16.
Chapter 17. Manav Seva is Madhav Seva. Service to man is service to God. Service is the most difficult of the 9 steps to inner reality. It is basically action arising out of the yearning to win the grace of God. It is the most important step to erase ego. Through service alone can man attain mastery of senses, the passions, and predilections, and through that reach divinity itself. I have come to teach you the proper attitude of service. For love expresses as service, and God is love. Service of man leads to the discovery of man as God. Baba. Swami addressed a huge gathering of his devotees who were anxiously planning to celebrate Bhagwan's 60th birthday on a grand scale. He said spirituality has no meaning to a person suffering from hunger. To the hunger-stricken, bring God in the form of food. To the distressed and distracted in the form of peace. To the sick as medicine. And to the afflicted a remedy for the affliction. Only thus can spirituality enter one's heart. Anything done otherwise produces agonistics and atheists instead of believers. Before you celebrate my 60th birthday, adopt at least 6,000 villages and transform them into ideal villages. The spiritual benefit deriving from japa, silent repetition of a mantra, tapas, penance, yagna, oblation, and yaga, religious sacrifice, will accrue from divine love alone. And all of the means to attain divine love, seva, service to mankind, is unrivaled. You must grasp the essentiality of my prema tattva, love. Whatever Sai does, or thinks, or says, or sees, is entirely for your sake, and not for Sai's sake. I have no happiness of my own. Your happiness is my happiness. I have no desires whatsoever. You may think that Sai is doing this or doing that. Nothing is for myself. Everything is for you. Believe it or not a paisa is being spent for me. Whatever is being done is for society. For 56 years now, not even a paisa has been spent for getting a single shirt made for me. I only wear those clothes that loving devotees offer to me. The shirt I am wearing at this moment has been given by a student, Radha Krishna. The thought that I want something for myself never occurred to me, nor does it occur now. Such a thought will never come to my mind in future, too. Whatever I will, it is for the welfare of the world. Understand this clearly. Develop enthusiasm in the various programs and activities, and actively participate in social service. It is important that you carry out Swami's ideals and activities more particularly in villages than in towns. Minimize your own expenses. and utilize maximum amounts on providing facilities needed by villagers. If facilities are adequately provided in every village, Bharatiya Tattva, Indian ethos, and Bharatiya Samskriti, Indian culture, will effectively reach one and all. All embodiments of divine self, Divya Atma Swarupala. You may not be able to see, but I see everything as scenes moving before my eyes. The very same persons who are today unable to understand Swami's Tattva are destined to experience it in tears, sometimes in future. The Sai Tattva or Sai philosophy is very shortly going to spread throughout the world. Swami is himself holding it back tightly. But once it is let loose, it permeates the entire world like an irresistible force. The world will be transformed into Prashanti Nilayam. Realize the essentiality of Swami and come forward to implement Swami's ideals. You will get no such opportunity later. You will not find it possible to get so close to Swami. Millions and millions of people will rush here. Those days are coming very soon. So from this day onwards, try to earn Swami's love and compassion and fulfill lives by taking up suitable activities in the service of mankind. Take one step towards me, I will take 100 towards you. This was the time when there were severe problems in Bosnia, and hundreds of thousands of refugees were sheltered in specially built camps who were awaiting return of peace. A Bosnian woman, an ardent devotee of Baba, felt it her duty to do some service of the unfortunate refugees. She carried baskets of bread and packets of biscuits in her van over a long distance and distributed them in camps. She also gave each of them a packet of vibhuti and a photograph of Swami. While eating, they were looking at Swami's photograph and talking amongst themselves in their own language. She could not follow what they talked to each other. She was inquisitive to know in particular what they said whilst looking at Swami's image. She therefore sought help from the driver of her van. He went to them and returned after a while. He told her what they were saying to each other. This man in the picture has been giving us bread and biscuits every day, but today apparently he gave them to her and asked her to distribute them. She was very much surprised to hear these words. In a meeting held during the summer training classes in Vrindavan in 1996, that Bosnian woman was permitted by Swami to speak. She narrated the above incident and added, if we take one step forward for doing good, Swami will be there ahead of us all the time. Hanuman and Vibhishan in discourse. The Vanaras or Ramayan were born as monkeys. Nevertheless, they served God as humble servants and gained relief from the cycle of birth and death, having been blessed with the good fortune of seeing God in their midst. Human beings are by no means inferior to Vanaras. Why do they not devote their lives to worship of God and meditation? It is not enough to remember, Smaran, God. What should enter heart and soul into divine activity? Hanuman and Vibhishan became good friends. One day Vibhishan approached Hanuman in great distress and said, Hanuman, how fortunate you are. Every day you do Smaran of Lord Rama and have fully earned Lord Rama's grace. No doubt I too have been doing Smaran of Sri Rama for a long time, but I am not blessed with the opportunity of seeing Lord Sri Rama, Darshan. Hanuman explained the position. You are no doubt doing Smaran of Sri Rama, but did you ever participate in Sri Rama's activities? How can you earn Sri Rama's grace without doing that? It is now a full 10 months since Devi Sita has been in Lanka. Did you ever console her and try to alleviate her suffering? Did you meet her and have darshan even once? Did you ever think of some way to relieve her agony? If you had done any of these, it would have amounted to service of Lord Rama. You have failed to avail of the fine opportunity that has come your way. As for me, I have dedicated my life to Sri Ram, chanting Sri Ram's name with my mouth and doing Lord Rama's work with my hands. While describing the above discourse between the two devotees of Lord Rama, Bhagwan Satyasai concluded, therefore our conduct should always be Ram in heart, Kam work service, in hand, Dil mein Ram, Haath mein Kam. Life dedicated to these two principles is truly fulfilled. Sarthak. Bhagwan Baba once said, you are not doing service for others. You are always doing it for yourself, to the God in you, the God who is equally present in others.
Service leads to heaven. Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai attaches immense value to willing and selfless service. In fact, he declared that it is the most supreme of all spiritual efforts, sadhana. He said, many distressed persons flock to Prashanti Nilayam having lost their peace of mind due to various problems. Among them are some persons who are bodily and mentally ill. My job is to treat everyone. While the doctor finishes the principal treatment, nurses, compounders, and attenders take over and do the rest of the job. In the same way, I am providing you, volunteers, opportunities for service. Na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyaganakena, amritattva manush. Neither spiritual deeds as ordained by scriptures, nor begetting worthy offspring, nor earning wealth will confer relief from the cycle of birth and death. Sacrifice alone can bring immortality, amritattva. This is the truth proclaimed by the Vedas. Mental readiness to do sacrifice, tyaga buddhi, coupled with absolute selflessness, should mark one's service. That is the only highway to reach Paramapada, God's abode. Service, seva, occupies the most exalted position among all kinds of sadhana. God himself has incarnated in human form to serve mankind through resuscitation of dharma, and he is undertaking numerous programs of service. In such a situation, if man too comes forward to dedicate himself to selfless service, there can be no doubt that God's grace will be assured. It is not necessary that service should be confined only to the precincts of Prashanti Nilayam. Serve the suffering, the poor, and the needy wherever you find them, in your village or the place to which you go on pilgrimage, or anywhere else at any time. Normally, water by itself costs nothing, but combined with milk, that same water gains in value. In the same manner, if you add a bit of your service to any of the holy activities of Swami, your contribution acquires greater weight and significance. Once, Lord Sri Krishna asked his poet saint devotee, Surdas, what he would desire to have, and he quickly added, leave it. Will you agree to be my servitor? Surdas humbly replied, Krishna, if I become your servant, it may generate ego in me. Moreover, what service can I do to you? There are innumerable persons who possess the necessary devotion, ability, competence, and also facilities for doing service to you. However, any number of your lowly servitors are there, with who themselves need succor and help. Bless me with the good fortune of serving such unfortunate persons. If you would like to please me and satisfy me, you need only to see me in every living being, serve all living beings as you would serve me, and worship me. That alone is the most appropriate procedure of worship. That alone is the holy path that brings you to me. Maintain spirituality throughout life. Speaking to students in Kodaikanal, Bhagwan Baba once narrated a delightful parable, which was as amusing as it was profound. Once, all vegetables in the world entered into a dispute about which one of them was the greatest. Unable to come to an agreement, they prayed to Lord Brahma, Lord Sri Mahavishnu, and Lord Maheshwara to intercede and decide. Responding to their prayers, the three gods came down to earth. They heard every vegetable with all the sympathy, patience, and understanding that the sensitive issue deserved. Finally, they decided that a particular vegetable was the greatest. What is that? The humble onion. All other vegetables were astounded. Each of them possessed admirable qualities. How could these gods decide that the onion was the greatest? Sensing their grievance, the gods spoke up. They said, there is no doubt that all of you possess commendable qualities, but onion has one additional and special trait which none of you can boast of. That is, to retain the same smell unchanged throughout life. That is why we have decided in its favor. Be like the onion, whether you are happy or unhappy, comfortable or suffering, never abandon your trait of being devoted to God. This explanation satisfied all of the aggrieved vegetables. Softly stroking his beard, Lord Brahma wished the winner, "As long as I exist, may you possess a beard like me." If you look closely at an onion, you'll find a thin beard adorning it. Lord Vishnu blessed the onion. Cut vertically, you will display one of my insignia, the Sankha, conch, shell. Cut horizontally, you will reveal another of my insignia, the chakra, disc. Cut an onion and you will notice this. Lord Shiva blessed it. I will give you a guarantee. Anyone trying to harm you is condemned to shed tears. This too is well within the experience of everybody. This simple tale of the humble vegetable conveys a profound truth. A person who possesses staunch, unwavering devotion to God is supreme. He will be blessed with God's grace. Nobody can cause harm to him. Om Shri Satya Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. End of chapter 17. Chapter 18. Dear to the deprived and near to the needy. Difficulties are created to increase the yearning and to sift the sincere devotee from the rest. Baba. Adversity brings God closer. In Sri Mahabharat, the Pandavas completed their exile in the forest and safely returned home. Kunti Devi, their mother, was overjoyed. In gratitude, she bowed and offered salutations to Lord Krishna. He said, "My dear aunt, is there anything more you want? I will grant it." She answered humbly, "O Lord Krishna, it was only because my sons were undergoing unbearable hardships in the forest and living on roots and tubers. You were constantly with them and guarding them. Similarly, I can earn your support and protection, your sweet and intimate love and your proximity, only when I have been in difficulties. So, I pray to you to grant me only hardships all the time." A similar incident connected to Sri Satya Sai's life is worth recalling. Swami decided that in one particular year, summer classes would be held in Ooty and took all the students there. When the classes ended and just before setting out for Bangalore, he told them, "As you have all come all the way to Ooty, go for sightseeing, look around and enjoy the beauty in God's creation." The students insisted that Swami should accompany them. Otherwise, they said, they too would not go. Their idea was to get themselves photographed along with Swami in the scenic surroundings. Swami agreed and arranged bus transport to go to Doda Betta, a fine spot situated 8,000 feet above sea level. He told the boys to go ahead and arrange to take photographs, and he would join them there soon. Sometime after they left, Swami left Nandanavanam for Doda Betta by car. After his departure, two young men came to Nandanavanam to see him. On learning that Swami was on his way to Doda Betta, they too left for Doda Betta on motorcycle. In their anxiety to reach and in fact overtake Swami's car, they drove at high speed. Persons travelling with Swami in his car wondered, "Who are these boys? They are driving too fast. They must be rowdies." Baba corrected them, "No, no. You should not rush to conclusions without knowing the facts. They are eager to have my darshan." At a turn on the road, the young men on the motorcycle came too close to Swami's car at a high speed. They lost control and fell down. Immediately, Swami had his car stopped. He went to them and wiped the dust and dirt off their bodies and gently reprimanded them. "My dear boys, Are you hurt? Why are you driving at high speed? You should not do such rash things. If you wanted to see Swami, you should have come to Nandanavanam. The boys replied, Swami, we very much wanted to see you. Now that we met with this mishap, we have got not only your darshan, but also your sparshan, touch, and sambhashan, too, conversation. If we had not fallen off like this, you would not have come so close to us, you would not have patted us on our heads so affectionately, and you would not have talked to us with such sweet intimacy. So, Swami, even if you give us any amount of hardship and adversity, grant us also your darshan, sparshan, and sambhashan. In order to receive the bliss of this kind, we will be prepared to undergo any amount of suffering. After narrating this touching tale of love and compassion, Bhagwan Baba said, God does not bestow as much closeness and love when you are comfortable and enjoying life as when you are in trouble and suffering the pangs of adversity. In God's view of things, both suffering and happiness are equal. Those who love God with all their heart and soul will have no desires. There are any number of people who are ruined for the lack of sincere faith, but there is not a single believer abandoned by God. None. None whatsoever.
I too fear her. One morning, women devotees were entering the audience hall in Prashanti Nilayam to have darshan of Swami. They were observing due silence and were also walking in orderly lines. But a lady volunteer at the entrance was curt and rude in her manners and was using somewhat impolite words while trying to hustle them inside. Many women felt bad about her behavior. One of them was very much upset. While she came to Prashanti Nilayam to attain mental tranquility, she thought this insensate volunteer was causing more unrest in her mind. She decided to inform Swami accordingly. To her good fortune, Bhagwan Baba gave an interview to her along with some women devotees. She could have utilized that sublime opportunity to raise her personal issues with Swami. Instead, she chose to ventilate her grievance at the inappropriate conduct of the volunteer at the entrance. As soon as she set foot in the interview room, she burst out, Swami, did you notice that lady volunteer on the women's side who is talking too much and using harsh words? She is disturbing our peace of mind, even in this holy place. Why did you have that volunteer posted on duty at the entrance, Swami? As he heard this tirade, Swami, who was seated on his throne, bent slightly forward and said to her, Bangaru, I will let you know a secret. I too fear her. The devotee was surprised but delighted and went into peals of laughter on hearing Baba's well kept secret. The whole room was filled with laughter. Here is a meaningful spiritual lesson given by Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai to his devotees. He did not dismiss that volunteer in anger for her rough conduct. At the same time, with a simple soothing word, he swept away the grievance of this genuinely hurt devotee and pacified her with his humor and love. Baba thus exhorts all his devotees. If you too face any problem or difficulty in life and get upset, recall my sweet words and jovial conversation and delight in them. Thereby, you will be able to forget your grief or hurt more easily. Often did that devotee receive rough treatment again at the hands of the same volunteer at the entrance of the audience hall, but she could bear it with equanimity by simply recalling the sweet, disarming, and frolicsome words of Swami and happily laughing within herself. Whenever you are troubled by life's problem, recollect Swami's divine discourses, exhortations, parables, and tales. Your troubles will be swept away like dark clouds driven away by wind. This incarnation in human form of the eternal, universal, supreme reality, the personification of truth, awareness, and bliss, the embodiment of unbounded compassion. Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai is showering divine bliss, Ananda, on humanity and enabling mankind to easily cross the difficult to cross ocean of birth and death. 9 types of bhakti. According to Sri Mahabhagavata, Sravan, hearing; Kirtan, singing praises; Smaran, remembering; Padasevan, touching feet; Vandana, salutation; Archana, worshipping; Dasya, serving; Sakhya, friendship; Atmanivedan, surrender, are the 9 types of devotion to God. These are like steps that lead by stages to reach and merge with God. Let us consider an illustration that holds a mirror, as it were, to the experience of hundreds of thousands of devotees visiting Prashanti Nilayam. First of all, we hear quite a lot about Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai. We hear that Sri Satya Sai stays in a holy place of Puttaparthi in the Anantapur district, that he gives public audience morning and evening every day in the audience hall in Prashanti Nilayam, that he is clothed in a long robe of red color, that he wears a distinctive crown of black hair, and that he presents a magnetic divine vision to the onlooker. We also hear that the very sight of Bhagwan gives indescribable happiness and that he can relieve every suffering by a mere touch or word. We hear that he can materialize any and everything by mere movement of his divine hand, and that he can cure any disease by his mere will. We hear hundreds of such experiences from all sides. This is the first stage, Shravan, hearing. Back home, the whole household will gather together and exchange notes and experiences. Have you heard this? Have you also heard about this miracle, this wonder? Sri Satya Sai Baba is God incarnate, they say. He is an ocean of mercy. He is the embodiment of compassion and love. We recount instances of every such attribute, and in the process, we sing his praises. This is the second stage, Kirtana. We are led to a strong desire to visit Puttaparthi someday and have Swami's darshan. The mind fills with Swami. We remember Swami's divine leelas and mahimas, signs of divinity, and we are suffused with wonderment and anticipation as well as intense pleasure. We dream of Swami while asleep. We think of Swami when awake. This is the third stage, Smaran. Then, on one blessed day, we reach Puttaparthi. We go into the audience hall for darshan. Swami moves slowly towards us, radiating flame colored illumination, and stops right in front of us. We forget ourselves in immense happiness. We salute him in a gesture of obeisance at his lotus feet and touch our eyes with our hands. So blessed. This then is the fourth stage, Pad Sevan, touching feet. Swami graciously invites us into the interview room. Beaming with pleasure, we troop into the room and sit at his lotus feet. He sits on his throne very close to us. We look at him in unbelieving wonder and rejoice at our good fortune. This is the fifth stage, Vandana, salutation. We place flowers at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai. Bhagwan tells us, Bangaru, I do not want these flowers that fade in no time. What I want is the other flower, your heart. When we hear Swami's mellifluous voice, 1,000 musical instruments sing in our inner consciousness. This is the sixth stage, Archana, worship. Then Bhagwan casts his cool, refreshing looks at us and asks smiling enchantingly, Bangaru, what do you want? We reply, Swami, if you are kind enough to allow it, we will stay here serving you. He inquires, what will you do here? We say, "We will do whatever you order, Swami." This is the seventh stage, Dasya, serving. After some conversations, we become more self assured and bolder. We develop some closeness, friendship with Swami. We tell him about our problems. Swami assures us, "Bangaru, why fear when I am here? I am in your home. I am always with you. I am ever by your side. You will find me within sight whenever you need me. I will protect you at all times." This close companionship gives us a lot of self confidence and courage. This is the eighth stage, Sakya, friendship. After some days, Bhagwan again asks us, "What do you want?" We have reached where we are able to reply, "Swami, I need nothing. I am completely yours. Use me as your instrument. I am merely incidental, a mere tool in your hands." This is the ninth stage, Atmanivedan, surrender. Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai says, "First, I will give you whatever you ask for. Later, I will make you ask for what I have come to give you." Om Shri Satya Sai Parabrahmane Namah. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. End of chapter 18.
Rama Shri Ramachandra Jaya Jaya Rama. Rama Shri Ramachandra Jaya Jaya Rama. Karunabhirama Kamaniyana. Karunabhirama Kamaniyana. Rama Shri Ramachandra Jaya Jaya Rama. Kodanda Rama Kalyan Rama. Kodanda Rama Kalyan Rama. Sharanagata Paripalana Shri Charana Rama. Sharanagata Paripalana Shri Charana Rama. Rama Shri Rama Sai Rama. Rama Shri Rama Sai Rama. Samara Vijaya Rama Saketaya. Samara Vijaya Rama Saketaya. Rama Shri Ramachandra Jaya Jaya Rama. Karunabhirama Kamaniyana. Rama Shri Ramachandra Jaya Jaya Rama. भक्त परिपालन श्री चरणा रामा रामा श्री रामा साई रामा समर विजय रामा साकेत समर विजय रामा साकेत रामा श्री रामचंद्र जय जय रामा श्रीनारायण तू पुरुषोत्तम गुरु तू सिद्धबुद्ध तू स्कंद विनायक सविता पावक तू सविता पावक तू ब्रह्मस्य तू यहव शक्ति तू येषु पिता प्रभु तू रुद्र विष्णु तू राम कृष्ण तू रहीम ताऊ रहीम ताऊ वासुदेव गो विश्वरूप तू चिदानंद हरि तू अद्वितीय तू अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिंग शिव तू आत्मलिंग शिव तू आत्मलिंग शिव ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वर ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकर सर्व प्राणपते स्वामी सर्व प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतीत आश्रित कल्पलतीत आपद्बान्धव ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राशयन ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओम साई महादेव सत्य साई सद्गुरुदेवा शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्ति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Jai Sai Ram, everyone. Closing thoughts. Most devotees perform daily Parayan, that's reading of sacred scriptures. Is that good enough as a spiritual exercise? Bhagwan lovingly guides us so we may correct our ways if needed. People offer worship to the paper and the words of the Bhagavad Gita, but they do not drink the nectar of the bliss which results from the practice of its teachings. Everyone must realize the truth that all sacred texts like the Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, and the Upanishads are meant for practice and not merely for doing Parayan, which is devout reading. These days, you find Sai Satcharitra in the hands of most devotees. They say they are doing Parayan every day. There is no greater foolishness than this. Is this book meant for only doing Parayan? It is meant for practice. Put into practice what Shirdi Sai Baba taught in this book. Here is a small example. A person was suffering from a severe cold and cough. When he approached a village doctor, he suggested to him to make a decoction of dry ginger, pepper, and ginger and drink it. Then the patient started repeating to himself, I should drink a decoction of dry ginger, pepper, and ginger. But he did not get any relief. How can he get any relief unless he prepares the decoction and drinks it? Similarly, you are merely repeating what is contained in the sacred texts without putting them into practice. You will derive benefit only when you practice. Now, this was a divine discourse on August the 31st, 1996. Now, the author of Tapovanam, Santi Sri Jandyala Venkateshwara Sastri. Now, he says, I quote, Parayan of this such charitra will earn the grace of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai and also bring about the noticeable elevation in our inner being. This would be the fruit of this spiritual effort. The ritual and disciplined process of reading this book induces in us a glimpse of the inner self and contemplation of the self, which eventually leads us to self-realization. Simultaneously, we should consciously make up our mind to discard our evil qualities and, at the same time, to add one or two good traits to whatever little stock we already possess. Service to the needy, sacrifice, compassion, patience, love, honesty, and sincerity. These are the qualities that deserve to be practiced persistently. And to conclude this blessed journey of the last 7 days, we thank all our Region 5 devotees' participation. The readers, the listeners, the whole planning and executing team, including our own media team. They took us all on a spiritual journey in the last 7 days. And most importantly, we thank our dear Swami, our Guru, Sri Satya Sai Baba, for giving us this wonderful opportunity of revisiting, learning, and reflecting on his teachings. Important messages explained by Baba so simply with clear examples. On this auspicious day of Guru Purnima, and with Swami's grace, let's hope all of us as individuals have taken some of his teachings to put into practice for our own sadhana. Wishing everybody a very happy Guru Purnima. Jai Sai Ram.